Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Unplugged Woodworkings podcast. So what have I been up to? I actually built a box the other week there, and this was a box with no nails or no glue, and it basically slots together. I'll put a picture up on the screen. I am actually going to talk about this today. So that was kind of all that I've kind of done. I have just been messing around with the van as well. I cannot seem to get on with this van, meaning I can't get on with the arrangements or the arrangement of it. For those of you that have watched previous podcasts, you'll notice that I've turned these seats around. I've actually took the top bedboards out because they're not really very usable. So I think at the back I'm going to be building another cabinet again. It is what it is, unfortunately. So yeah. So what impressed me? So I'm actually going to show. I'm going to show two things this week. So the first video, this is actually a girl. I don't know the age of the girl. Maybe mid-teens to late teens. I think I'm not quite sure. And she's got an axe in her hand, and she tries to use an axe. So she basically swings the axe onto a log, onto the end grain of a log, and the I shouldn't laugh, I really shouldn't laugh. And the axe like really hits her, bounces back and it hits her. I'm not really sure what that's caused with. I don't know if it's because it was blunt or I'm not sure. I'm not overly sure what's happened, but I'm gonna show that for those of you that's watching on YouTube, and I'm gonna include the audio. The audio I don't think is very good, but you should be able to hear the axe hitting the wood and then bouncing back and hitting her head. I really shouldn't laugh, but it's a prime example of like be careful when you use tools. So I'm going to play it now, and for those of you that are listening, hopefully you can hear the axe head hit, the back of the axe head hitting her head. I think luckily for her, it's just a regular axe and it's not like a double-sided, or otherwise she'd be in big trouble. But here it is. Go. Go. Okay. Yeah, so be careful with hand tools, kids. Okay, so the next bit of video I'm going to show was a workbench being made by, I think it was Sawyer Made, I think. So this is a workbench like I've never seen before. I've never seen anything like it. And it almost looks like a piece of furniture. So I'll put the video up here. It doesn't actually show a great deal of the bench. You get like a quick few second snippet, and a few second snippet at the end of it. I might actually try and like freeze it, say take a screenshot or something of the bench. But it's the bench itself, it's absolutely beautiful. It looks far too pretty to be working on. I mean, anyone that's followed us for any amount of time, I don't believe in building a bench and then being all like pretty with it. I believe the bench is there to be used and abused. That's what a bench is there for. It's to handle all the things you do. All the abuse that you'll be given a piece of wood to turn it into a piece of furniture or whatever you may be making. So I'm not really big on it. Me Roman workbenches are a good example. You know, when I'm doing glue ups, you know, the excess glue, because I don't tend to use brushes a lot. Sometimes when I'm doing dovetails I do, but the excess on my finger, that gets wiped onto maybe one of the legs or the underside. So if you look at all of my legs on my Roman workbench, I think pretty much all of them, they're all just like fitting with like runs of glue down them. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people think that's like kind of abusive, abusive to a workbench. But that's just something I do. Obviously, it's the same with chisel marks as well. There's a lot of chisel marks in my benches. There's a lot of saw marks in my benches. Yeah, probably not. I should probably be a little bit more careful regarding the saw marks, because I shouldn't really be sawing into the bench. But chisel marks, yeah, you know, it's, for me, it's not a big deal. But going back to the bench, it just looks, I don't think I could bring myself to do anything with it. I think I'd be like putting blankets on top of it, you know, when I was like doing anything. Even if I was putting a box of screws on, I'd put like a tea cozy down or something, you know. You know, on me plane, put me plane on a tea cozy or something like that. Yeah, but it's absolutely beautiful. So as always, I'll leave a link to these if you want to watch them. And remember, kids, don't play with axes. Yeah, so today I'm going to talk about this little box. It's nothing special, to be honest. You know, kind of, it's a really simple build. I do believe these type of boxes originated from kind of like CNC machining. I did actually come across this sort of design with my tool caddy. So the tool caddy, which I'll put a picture of my tool caddy up. It's my tool caddy's simple. It's nothing special, same as this. This is nothing special either. But I like it, and it's just, it works for me. It works very, very well. Although there is you know, some things I do want to change, and I probably will change. So I have, for maybe the last, I don't know, maybe the last 6 months, been like thinking about different types of construction, like using this construction, if you will. It has got a lot of potential. I'm not overly keen with the colour of it, and I'm not overly keen with the type of plywood it is. Obviously the colour and the type actually comes into play. This was like some of the ply left over what I got for the van. And anyone that's followed us on Instagram or whatever, or even the podcast, will know that this has been absolutely horrendous. I'll never ever buy this stuff again, unless my hand's twisted, basically meaning I can't afford anything better. But this is super cheap, and it doesn't always stand to reason, but on this particular case I did get what I paid for. So I don't know if you can actually see it. There's actually a gap at either end, and that's because the bottom board is actually bent. I think the top board's bent as well. So this is really annoying, because it looks like my cuts aren't straight and my cuts are straight. It's probably a little bit more predominant on this side. So at the very bottom of the box, you will be able to see there is like a very noticeable gap. So obviously when I put my weight on the top of this, you can't see the gap, because everything straightens itself out, which is another thing we can get on with. The construction of this, it is really strong. It's stupidly strong, but it kind of works in the same like kind of principle of as an I-beam. So if you think of an I-beam, you've got the top section and the bottom section of an I-beam, and it's got a middle section, so if you take the middle section away and you put the two end pieces, yeah, you will get a bit of strength and they'll bend a lot. You know, and it's not really good for, you know, like any sort of support. But you add the middle piece, obviously the middle piece on its own is actually really good with a downward force, but the same again, it can flex to the left and flex to the right, and it's got a possibility to twist. So if it twists, obviously it's just going to go onto the it's going to go onto its flat, and it's just going to, you know, bend or break or whatever. So when you combine the three of them together, it becomes a really strong, solid structure. That's pretty much what my tool caddy is. So this is actually like one step forward, and obviously I've got the top, the bottom, I've got this side, and obviously I've got this side. So it is a really strong structure. So, you know, I have actually been standing on this and kneeling on it and stuff, and it's, you know, it's strong. It's not going to go it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, so with this alone, it has got a lot of like possibilities. One of the things I wanted to build this for was actually for a solar generator. Ironically, the camera's actually sitting on a Bluetti. So basically, I am going to be making some sort of a Bluetti, and basically this is what it's going to look like. Obviously, it's not going to look as pretty as a Bluetti, but this is going to be some of the housing. You know, because it is actually quite strong. So I'm basically, the batteries are going to be in here, an inverter is going to be in here, and maybe at the side, or maybe, you know, at the gable end, if you will. I'm going to have some USB cigarette lighter where I can plug things into. So the good thing about, or at least to me, the good thing about it was that once all the batteries are in and everything's set up, you know, I've just like literally, I can literally just, like, you know, put the top, I've just took the top off there, but I can literally just put the top back on. At the moment, because I wanted to kind of trial it and just to see how it worked out, I'm not really a big fan of like making things and not using them. It's the same with joints. I don't really like cutting the joint and not being able to use a joint for something. So this is actually just got dropping things all over the place. Yeah, this has just got some of me camping stuff, just basically for the van. You know, I thought it would be kind of nice to be able to do something like this, but obviously for it to have some utility rather than just for the sake of building. One of the things I did like about this, obviously just me messing around with it, is that I realised I could actually take one of the sides out and put the top back on, like so, and it's actually still quite solid. So I've actually got access. So again, while I was messing around with it, these little holes, yeah, so there was actually 3 holes. I did kind of think about cutting this out so there was no middle section, so it would have just been one way I could get all of my fingers in and pick it up that way. I did think about doing that, but I was being a bit lazy as usual, because it was extra work to do that. And I couldn't actually find my little pruning, so I don't know where it's went. But anyway, I did think if I left these in, I had different positions where I could tie some rope. And one of the ideas I come up with is that I could actually have the box itself basically hanging outside off the top of my door with some rope. And I could have maybe my little gas stove on here, you know, and whatever else, yeah, you know. So I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So It does come apart quite easily, and there's literally nothing to it. Making this back up, it is actually quite quick to do. And what I liked about this, or what I've been thinking about, is that, so where the camera's situated now, I'm actually going to build a unit, another unit. But what I was actually thinking about doing was to use this sort of construction, and the thing that I'm liking about it is that I'm not gluing and screwing things together, or I'm not taking the time to do joints. I mean, because like you know, the first and second like unit I've done had like kind of dovetails, and then I shortened them, cut the thickness down, and then the last one, I just lost all interest and I screwed that thing together, and now that's kind of no good, because that was actually sitting like in the corner, pretty much where I'm sitting now in the van. So it's not ideal in that sense, to keep on doing stuff like this. And as I said at the start of this podcast, I'm having real trouble kind of getting on with the van, kind of, you know, finding some sort of arrangement where I like it and I'm comfortable with it. So hence why I've changed things around. So I think this sort of construction, you know, would be quite good. I think another aspect of this as well, is that if I was able to come up with something like this, and it did look good, I would be able to sell it. So the problem being with some of the units that you can actually buy at the moment is that they cost an absolute fortune. Some of the units I was looking at, and I was actually looking at them last night, were ranging anywhere from you know, £1,300 up to, like, I think I seen one for £2,000. And the one I seen for £2,000, I thought to myself, wow, you must actually get the fridge with it, and you you must actually get the hob and the sink with it, you know, because you get the hob and a sink that like comes together as one single unit, and you didn't, and I thought that was like literally daylight robbery. So I did see a couple of other ones that were kind of had been used. They were still in quite good condition, but even the used ones were like, you know, £600, £700, £800. So I thought to myself, for this type of van, if I could get something that worked and it slotted together like this, you know, for people that kind of don't do like DIY, or woodworking for that matter, I just thought it would be a really good idea. You know, if I could make something like that, that looks good, and it's going to help people out, and it's going to save people a lot of money, because I honestly couldn't charge that amount of money. I honestly think it's daylight robbery. I really do. I could not charge that for what goes into it. I mean, like, you know, a lot of these units that are built in here, or for vans in general, it's the same as if you look at some of the Volkswagen vans. Any van that's really got any sort of like conversion, some sort of commercial conversion done, you know, most of them are done on CNC routers. So they've already got the computer software that's linked up to the CNC router. You know, don't get us wrong, they would have had to have either designed it, or they've had to pay for it. You know, pay for the design, but either way, I still believe it's too expensive. You know, yeah, some of them do look good, some of them don't look good, but it would actually be quite good to be able to do like something this sort of construction, you know, and sell it for a fraction of the price. You know, or even sell some plans. You know, it's so easy to do these. Something else I was quite interested in as well, regarding this type of construction, was like a toolbox. I mean, as is, you know, you've kind of got your toolbox. Yeah, I've just took the lid off there for those of you that can't see. But you know, this particular one, just for the size of it, you won't get a great deal in it. But as I said, I just built this out of scraps, although I still did want it to be, you know, have some utility, which it has got some utility. But it has got that potential for, you know, to store tools. I dare say I'd probably use this. You know, maybe I had a job somewhere, or maybe I was going to give somebody a hand and my caddy wasn't enough, because obviously I've got my caddy but it doesn't house all my tools. Maybe there was a few more tools I needed to get, or to bring along rather. So, you know, this is a no-brainer type of thing. It would easily house it, so it wouldn't be a problem just to take out some of my camping equipment and put some extra tools in it. So one thing I would probably say, on this particular box, I only used, or rather I used 12mm ply. You could get away with using 9mm, and I think 9mm would probably be better for the smaller type of constructions. The unit I'm going to be doing at the back, I think 9mm, I think 12mm is probably going to be better suited. I don't think there's a need to use like 3/4 inch at all. I think 3/4 inch is maybe a little bit overkill. I think the way this is constructed, and you know, like it's structured when everything's like kind of like fit together with the mortise and tenons, the slots. There's no really need for like having, you know, like 3/4 inch or even an inch. There's just no need for it. So I think that unit at the back, if I do get around to doing it, it's only going to be like 12mm, but I've no idea when I'm going to get around to doing that, because I do still want to either make a dining table or a Queen Anne tea table. I haven't really had the weather for it. This little thing here, this is pretty much why I've done it. This was another idea or another project I had in mind, and the reason I've done this was because it was super quick to make. It only took us a few hours, and I think I had to span this out over the course of like 3 days. I think 2 days, 3 days, just because of the weather. Weather was really bad. So as I say, I haven't really had the weather to basically shoot the video. That's the only thing I'm waiting for. That's the only reason that stopped us, is just to shoot the video. It is a bit dark and dingy in my shed. I mean, even if I wasn't shooting the video, I probably still would have waited, because my eyesight's not great as I get older, obviously. And with it being dark and dingy, I mean, to be fair, I really need to build myself a decent workshop. Paint the walls bright white, so it's, you know, it's going to be nice and bright in there. Get some decent windows in. That's going to let a lot of light in and stuff. That's what I need to do. But same again, it's on me forever to-do list, which is just getting bigger and bigger by the day. So what I haven't mentioned about this box, you know, it's very, very sturdy, but what I haven't mentioned about it, as it is reliant on gravity, or like some sort of weight on top of it. Obviously it also has to sit on its feet. It's got 2 little feet on the bottom, and if you're not sitting on those feet, it's not a great deal. It's not a big deal at the moment. It probably would be okay. You probably could stack things like this as long as I had the two sides in. If for some reason you took one of the sides out to access it and you thought it was better to leave the one side out, it might be problematic there, because obviously if I turn it upside down, I've just give, for those of you that are listening, I've just hit it on top of my knees a couple of times and the legs are actually coming out. So it's still intact, but I think that's one of the things, or one of the problems with it. But while there's weight on it, it isn't a problem. So one of the other things I was thinking about doing with this was like kind of adding drawers. So for the unit, if this was going to be the front of the unit and this was going to be obviously the top, where I would be doing cooking and whatever else, obviously these where the handles are, they wouldn't be there. They would just be cut flush. And at the front I would have some doors cut out or whatever. So I was thinking about doing some drawers, and the problem with adding drawers is that if it's fixed to any of the horizontal pieces, it's going to have a tendency to tip them at the back. So obviously these have got to have a little bit of play in them, obviously to put the thing together, because of the super tight, you do struggle getting it together. But that is a bit of a problem if I wanted to put drawers in. They'll probably have to come off the side sections, the horizontal pieces. It is still doable, I suppose. And I think another project that I was thinking about was seating as well with these. So the seating would probably look as much as this does right now. And what I thought was to actually put on the top, to put cushions to basically fit in between the handles, and all that's going to do is kind of help to keep the handles, sorry, not the handles, it's going to help to keep the cushion in place while it's driving. And I did think on either side you could actually extend them by a few inches, the two side wings, if you will, and that can actually add as double up as maybe some sort of shelving. So when you're actually sitting on the seat, if you're having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, you could actually put your cups on that section there. That was kind of one of the ideas behind it. As I said, it's a very simple construction, but it has got a lot of possibilities. This might sound a little bit boring to people, especially if you're not watching this and trying to listen, trying to grasp what I'm saying. So I do apologise, but I just thought the constructions, like it's super simple and just about anyone can do it. I can't remember if I mentioned, but I have actually done a video for this. It depends if I get it edited in time. It may be out the same day as this podcast. If not, it'll probably be the Monday. Obviously I've got the podcast to edit and I've got the video to edit. So I think the video I'm just going to keep nice and simple. I don't even think I'm going to narrate it. I think I might just put some music in the background and kind of do it that way. As I said, it is kind of super simple. So if you are kind of considering to build one of these or something in this manner, what I will say to you is try and make everything as symmetrical as you possibly can, because I'm a little bit off with my measurements. I didn't actually put a lot of emphasis on my measurements, being super correct with my measurements. I was a little bit lazy, but I didn't really see the importance of it until I built it. So these side pieces are all where the mortise or the tenons go through. So the tenons are ever so slightly out. I think they're out by about 2 millimeters. So is what this means is that if I put this in, let's just say when I put it together, there's a designated inside and a designated outside, so you wouldn't know that looking at it. So obviously it can be a little bit confusing because I haven't, you know, I haven't really there is still some pencil marks on it, but I haven't took the time to, you know, maybe do like a mark and write, you know, 1 and 1, 2 and 2, just as you would with corners, a dovetail sort of thing. So the problem being, if I put what's supposed to be the inside, the outside, I'm 2 millimeters out, which means I've got to take it apart and then turn that around and put it back in. So I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I think if you're going to go to the trouble of making one of these, just pay a little bit more attention than what I did. I would also recommend that you use a different type of ply. If you are able to get your hands on this cheap Chinese ply, don't use it, because I've had nothing but problems with this. I've done a few projects with this lately, more to do with the van, and it's just, I've had terrible bows in it. It's honest, it's just not, you're better off paying that little bit extra. I think this, visually for me, this looks horrendous. I don't like the colour of it. Now there was a guy on Instagram, I can't quite remember his name, and he said he done his longboats, I think some of the cupboards in his longboat, he actually used this, and he says it come up really good. So obviously that's just his preference, and this is my preference. But I do tend to like more like a blonde wood or a golden wood, you know. The likes of, if you put Danish oil on oak, white oak or European oak, I love that colour. That's very appealing to me. A rich, like a really rich golden colour. And then if you can wax some like beautiful grain into that, you know, with different shades, obviously with the different shades of grain, but it's got that different shades of golden in it, if you will. That's really appealing to me. So kind of in ply, the only thing that's going to be close enough for me is probably going to be some birch plywood, and birch is quite a bit blonde, and I'm not going to get that, like that total golden colour, but I think it is going to look quite nice. And I think, to be honest, I think if this box was like made out of birch ply, I think it would be, you know, for me it would be a lot more appealing. But as I said, I won't be buying this type of ply again. I'm just really not happy with the problems I've had with it. Okay guys, I think that's it for today. Been a little bit boring, I must admit, but I thought I'd share this with you just because it's so simple, and it's got so many possibilities, so many utilities. You know, I thought it would be a shame not to share it. That's me done. So until the next time, I shall see and speak to you guys later.